actually sent a message from there
Okay.
to get friends and acquaintance to know what exactly was happening.
Mm.
So I sent a message, I composed the message with their consent and their input, and I sent it out with my wife's number,
That is true.
with my wife's number and the message, so people could call to confirm, soliciting for financial support, so I could be released. So that's the content of the message. Because it didn't take my phone,
Okay.
they returned gadgets to us. Maybe after my before the on 1st of October, I I left at back. Okay, I had some other engagement at Akure, so I had a stopover at Akure. I was going to Keret. I was actually going to I was going to Keret, so I left Akure around 5 o'clock, no, between 4 and 5. But because of the nature of our road, the road is bad, and there are so many trucks before you even get to the police school till you get to the quarry and into the Taogulu. All of the places were blocked, so I had to even seek the assistance of those area boys to help me push my car through the bush so I could maneuver the place because it was already getting dark. So eventually, when I crossed that place, I, I discovered the road was not as busy as it were. So I had a couple with me that assisted from Akure. They were going to Egypt. So I asked them and they said, nothing is happening. Like, because the road is blocked, that some other people are going to take that off the side. So after I dropped them at Egypt, so I embarked, I continued my journey. I was about less than a Nepal pole distance from the quarry by the left between Iju and Kere. I the road was the road is very bad. The road is in a very deplorable state where you can hardly look far ahead. You have to keep monitoring where you put your tire. So I was going. I didn't see them from afar. So they've stopped about two vehicles. I think they've asked the occupants to lie on the ground. So getting close to them, I saw a man, lying in front of the car. So I just presumed perhaps his car has problem and he's trying to fix it. That should be around 7:30 to 8. So my intention was just to pass by him and keep moving. And these bad people from the other world, they were behind the vehicles. So perhaps they thought I'd seen them from distance and I'm trying to escape. Actually, no vehicle could run in that. Nobody will even think of escaping such because the road is bad. There's no way you can run. So passing by the vehicle, they just came out from behind the vehicles and they shot into the car, into my car. I think the car shot about up to 4 bullets into the car. One into the tire, one into the fender, one into the engine from the bonnet, and they shot one straight at me, perforated the windscreen, go through the speedometer, and came out from within the steering. So that was one that hit me on the head. I cannot explain. It was just God. It wasn't luck. It wasn't anything. It was just God and grace that it didn't hit me on the head or on the chest. So immediately I pulled over. I put the car on park. I was very shivering, so I thought they were armed robbers. Then I had some money with me. I had about 35,000 naira to 40,000 naira. So I pulled the money out, I picked my phone, I lied down, I put it off, and I said, "This is my phone, this is my this." So they took everything from me. And I was thinking they were going to leave us. I was the last person that was adopted, um, and they took me and others. They marched us into the bush. I think we were, according to the people I met there, we were supposed to be 11. So when they were trying to take us into the bush, because of the color of the wares, those people are two of them,
Mm.
the driver of one of the vehicles and one other woman escaped. So 9 of us were taken into the bush. And at first, when we were in the bush, I thought they didn't know the terrain very well. I never knew they were intentionally going back and forth. They took us to the left side of the road. So none of us had footwear on. So they kept moving. They didn't put on their torch. There was no torchlight in the dark. I think that should be going to around after 8 or thereabouts. So they kept moving. They would go this direction. They would turn back. It was after I was released I got to know that from my experience with them that they actually knew what they were doing. They were trying to confuse us so that we know
Mm.
the
How to chase
direction.
that road,
Yes,
even though you're out.
yes. So they took us after we walked. We sustained several injuries to our legs. Um, we crossed a stream. Then we went to lie. They asked us to lie down on a rock. We climbed a rock. So they asked us to lie down. We lie down on the rock. And then they went to hot stick. So they began to beat everybody. And I asked, what's your occupation? What do you do for a living? And when it got to my turn, I told them I'm a teacher. And they said, they don't take money from teachers, that teachers are bad people. That they kill teachers, that they were going to kill me. So immediately I said, sorry sir, I'm not a teacher, I'm a lecturer. So they said, he said he doesn't still collect money from lecturer, that he was going to kill lecturer. So I kept quiet. So I knew I had going to show maximum cooperation. So I stopped looking up. I wasn't looking at them. Even when they were beating me, I had to keep quiet. Others, when they were beating them, they were trying to plead because they beating others before it got to my turn. I discovered it was the more they plead, the more they beat them. So I wasn't pleading. And when you try to look up, they beat you more. So I had observed their operations.
Mm.
So when they beat me, I didn't plead. I didn't say more than sorry, sir. And then they said we are going to pay ransom. I didn't argue. I wasn't arguing with them. There's no money because I observed those who were claiming there's no money. They beat them the more, and they tell them by the time you spend a week two in this bush, there will be money. So when it got to my turn, I remember the Bible verse. It said, "Agree quickly with the adversary."
I think quickly with what?
Agree quickly with the adversary in the way.
Hmm.
So I nearly said that I'm going to do anything they want me to do. I wasn't looking up. I wasn't looking into their face. That I'm going to show maximum cooperation that they should please. They shouldn't kill me. So they asked us to lie down because some of us are strength, sustained injury, sustained beating, people slept, were snoring. So after a few hours, they took us up. They began to do the same thing, going back and forth. So at that point, none of us, even if we were released, we could be going further into the bush because we didn't know the direction we were coming
Mm.
from. So at that point, we trekked for hours. We then bus at main road again. So on the main road, I think we should trek not less than about 6 to 10 pole.
Same night.
Yeah, the same night. About 6 to 10 NEPA poles that were on the tar road. So none of us knows because we were already dazed
Exhausted.
and it was dark in the night. So after we trekked, there was no vehicle coming, there was no security men. So we trekked a distance. Then we enter into the other side of the bush. So we continue to climb hills and descend valleys and what have you. So we eventually got to a place. one huts, abandoned farm houses. There we saw some water in an open bag plastic. So they drank and they told us how many of us, many of us gladly drank because we were very thirsty and exhausted. So on that hill, we descended the hill again. No one can actually describe, but one thing that is common in all those thick forests that we went is that we feel the activity, even in the dark, we feel the activities of elders
Hmm.
in those places. You could step on cows' dungs, and so they took us. We continued to trek, walk till it was almost day. So we were then taken to another rock. We were asked to, I think that should be around 3 or 4. We were asked to lie down to sleep. So we stayed there for some time. When it was time for, I think around 6 o'clock, we were asked to stand up. We were taken back into the bush from the rock. So we were hid under the bush. They stayed with us. There were 5 of them with AK-47. I think they had only one cutlass with them, and they have full ammunition. They have what is it ammunition called? Yes, they have guns and ammunition. They have all of them, more than enough. But they were even releasing bullets into the air. So we kept in the day. They keep us under trees, under bushes. And we feel the activities of farmers who come to farm very close to us. For those farmers, I am sure they are not aware of the happenings. But there are some group of people that I can be very sure are aware of what was happening with the elders.
Hmm.
So where they eat us, cows, when they are rearing their cows in the bush, cows don't they just enter anywhere. So when it's about time for them to get close to us, with their guns, they will move out and talk to those elders to redirect
Their cows.
their cows.
What language do they speak?
They have all of them are Fulanis,
Fulanis.
all of them. But I think about 1 or 2 of them are they, I think they should live. They live among us.
Hmm.
They speak Yoruba fluently. They understand Yoruba language. They speak Yoruba, and from their conversation with their people they call, it appears they live among us.
Hmm.
Because I could hear one of them talking to somebody. The person was saying, "Give me your wife number. I'll go and meet him." And say, "You are a bastard. If you see my wife, will you be able to talk to him?" So they keep communicating with their family members. So from their conversations, one can say it appears about 2 of them live either at Ikere, around that axis. So we were in the bush. The first day there was no food. The second day there was no food. I think around 1 o'clock, midnight, the second, I think the early hour of the third day, they cooked yam. So they gave us. I think the yam they harvested from farmers' plots. So they gave us, we ate yam, the fresh water from those water that cow has even shit in. So we all drank and ate, thanking the Lord that we were still alive. Because when I left the car, I didn't know whether I was alive or was dead. The shock was much. I'm a civilian. I've not been to where they handle firearms, so the shock was much. So when we were there, that we were still alive, they kept beating us. So I think the third night they went to look for clutch cable of the car, very thick, with the bolts on. That was what they were using on people. But because I had shown a level of cooperation and they saw that I wasn't looking at them, what made them beat others more was because they were looking on them. And, and the reason why those people were doing that because they didn't have the experience of violent adoption like the one I had. So I learned from my experience. So I wasn't looking up. And I told them I'm a drug. I told them I use glasses, that I'm not with my glasses, that I don't see much. So perhaps and prayers for my students and people. So they were a bit lenient with me. Uh, they thought we were there. The experience is nothing one can just continue to recap. But it wasn't a palatable one. The beating, the threats, sometimes they would just release. At the point, they took one of us, they wanted to slaughter him. I think they were doing all of that to threaten us so we could tell our family members to raise food. So on the day fifth, of course, the long story short, on the day fifth, on the fifth day, we were released.
How?
After having contacted our family members, negotiation has gone into place, and they named their price. Family members have tried to raise what they could, so they agreed they were going to release us. So we called them to meet somewhere, to meet at Ikere. All of the people were involved because we were about 8 of us. We were nine that went into the bush. After the first walk where we slept, one of us escaped. So we were left 8 of us. So when the person escaped, he maltreated us, believing that we were aware we didn't raise the land. So on the fifth day, we were released on ransom. And I don't know where we were, but my brother who came to pick me told us we were released at his area. So that's my experience as before. My car was damaged. Uh, I had gone holes, bullet holes, almost everywhere in the car. I think about one, two, three, four, five, about four places, four bullets into the car. And I myself I sustained gunshot wound. There was no treatment throughout. I had to sleep on the bare ground, even with the open wound. So we're just praying that we'll come out. So on the fifth day, we were released.
So how much? Do you have an idea of how much ransom was paid?
The sum of 3 million naira was about 3 million naira because it was more than 3 million naira. They collected some money from me. And when my brother was coming, they told him to buy them some items, which
Food
was,
items?
I think, drugs, cigarette, and whatever, cigarettes, amounting to almost 10,000 naira. So what baffled me was that they were the one who gave the description of the exact place to get the cigarettes. So I feel like the one who spoke to who understand is speaking about it. So,
So
and these indications, the Aboki man or the Fulani must have been patronizing the woman. Possibly the woman, if well handled, will know the person. And from their operations, their modus operandi, one could see, one could deduce that they have informants around. Because when they told my people, they called my brother, asked him the kind of car he bought. He told them. They called the third, there were three families. So they connected all of them together at Ikere. So they asked for the kind of cars they bought. Two of them, my brother bought a car, bought a matrix. The other person bought a Toyota Corolla. So they told my brother to enter the car of the third person, and the second person entered the car. He asked them to keep driving towards the scene. I think it was very close to the checking point, according to my brother. But they told them from where they were taking off that they should put on double trafficator. It means they want people to keep observing them and give report back to them in case they are coming in company of military officers. So, and they said they were going to put lead where they should stop. So they live around that place. From their operations, you know that they live around that place. But for for safety's sake, one will just say, because you know the situation of the state, one will just say there's no need trying to fight a lost battle. Of the community where I belong, Adekunle Ajasin University,
Mm.
did a lot. Some of my colleagues made phone calls to several others who were even tracking where our calls were coming from. So they already knew we were at stake, that we have trekked down to the that how are you? But who is to come and invest? You understand? And because of the state of the nation, that's how you see, even in my case, if not for the fact that I know you are using this for project, I wouldn't, like I told you, I was called for an interview. I told you because it amounts to exposing oneself to more danger. We live in a society where, I'm sorry to say, the leaders do not care about the left. Nobody care about you. My car was in that place for 3 days until my family member took the initiative to go and remove it. Nothing was done about it. No security operative went there to tow the vehicle from the road. It was left there for 3 days. On the third day, that my family member contacted the police station and they tried. And we paid the sum of 45,000 naira to tow the vehicle from that place. So you see that we already know nobody cares about us. So and that's why an average Nigerian is not a Nigerian. We only live here. We are not Nigerian because we don't love this place. We no longer love the nation. The patriotism, the nationalism is not there. Even our young ones, none of them want to be seen as Nigerian. So we live in a place where there's no security. Everybody is responsible for his own life. So that's why I said it's a lost battle. You are doing your investigation, the private uh, person, you require the service of security operatives, military men at some point. Where do you get them from? Those in government, they are not interested in the nonsense you are doing. I call it nonsense because
Because
in the real state, in the real sense of it, it's nonsense. Nothing will come out of it. Nothing. We only publish in Nigeria to get position, promotion, academic recognitions, but then it all end in a trash can. Of course, when situations like this happen, victims are supposed to be interviewed by security operatives, and their experience, they will be able to gather intelligence. But in our case in this country, kidnapping is so rampant that you don't even need to go to two houses before you get a victim that you but we are not interested in our safety, in security. Our leaders are only interested in winning elections. And they are our friends when it's electioneering campaigning time. So that's why I said it's a lost battle. Nobody, any reasonable person will want to fight a lost
well,
battle. Information I gathered, I think they said they operate around that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Indeed, when farmers must have left those bushes, those farms, because these farmers were in those places when we were kidnapped. People will have quickly raised alarm. So they waited till the time the farmers would have gone off their farms. Many of the places we went to, there are people's farm. Understand? So I think that's so around that time is the time they usually kill when farmers will not be in the bushes. Because the places where we were kept, many a times very close to us, we heard the activities of farmers. People, they are distance farm. People will come with their bike, but they won't know that
yeah,
such dangerous set of people are in their midst. So we'll be asked to lie down on the ground under bushes. We dare not make any sound, any noise, so that people will not. But the elders, the Fulani elders, I'm sure they know so well that those things were happening. because they come out, you can't see somebody who is not a police officer, who is not a military officer, who goes about with AK-47 in the bush, and he comes and tells you that take your in your language that you should not come towards this end. If you are a patriotic Nigerian, you should go out and say, at this social place, I saw some people with AK-47, and they told us not to go towards this end. But because they are in the business, and I want to say, I want to believe that these kidnappers, those who abducted us, they were ex-errors. Perhaps because of the places they took us. It's like you are going from here to, you are going to a place of about 10, 20 kilometers. And you just faced the direction and you were just entering virgin bush and you landed in that place. It means the person has the complete map of that place. So they know the bushes very well. They already have the complete design of that environment.